Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacy Zapalaca if you've never been here before, but if you have, hi girl, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that, girl, it is very close and dear to my heart. I've been very open about my mental health struggles with you guys so far, and I think this is just another video where I just need to sit here, talk about what's happened to me this last week, how I've been feeling, and how I am deciding to move forward from now on. Normally, you guys know I have a lot of notes. Today, I actually don't have a lot of notes. I just have half a page of notes because I'm very passionate about this subject and I kind of just want to talk from my heart, and I want to let you guys know how I feel about the situation, and maybe I can be heard and understood. And if I can be heard and understood, then at least I'll be heard. Today I want to talk about my experience with anxiety. Now, I know a lot of us hear the term anxiety and we see it on TV. Anxiety is probably one of the most common mental illnesses that are out there, the one that most people suffer of. And so I happen to be one of those people. I've talked about it on my blogging channel a bunch of times. I've talked about different times where I've had different episodes about different things that cause anxiety, what anxiety feels like to me, and things like that. But I've never actually gave it its own dedicated video because I never thought that I needed to. I thought everybody just knew that having anxiety was okay and that it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you an incompetent person. You're still a person that deserves respect, that deserves time, and that it deserves the space to feel your feelings. I decided to make this dedicated video towards anxiety because I got one comment in one of my recent videos where I just initially was hurt at the fact that somebody could think that, but then I kind of came to the realization that a lot of people don't know somebody who suffers with anxiety, or maybe they do, but they just don't, they can't identify it for themselves, or maybe they even suffer from anxiety, but they have never been given the room to feel out their feelings. As somebody whose whole life purpose is to teach women how to feel more confident, how to love themselves deeper, and how to feel like they belong in the world, I think I'm doing my duty by sharing this video and by sharing my experience, because a lot of us suffer from anxiety and a lot of us feel very misunderstood, and a lot of us feel also very, very annoying when we're having these episodes. So one of the things about my anxiety is most of the time it manifests itself physically. So like my heart will race, I won't be able to breathe really well, or I'll just start to think and catastrophize every single possible scenario. And if you don't know, catastrophizing means, let's say I'm sitting here right now and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting here. What if the roof collapses over my head and I die? Like, that's literally some of the thoughts that I have sometimes. Now, for the most part, I've been able to handle it, and I go to therapy, as you guys know. I work out, I eat healthy, I do whatever it is that I can to make sure that my mental health is at its top shape. With that being said, sometimes I also have a support of people who are here for me and who know that I suffer from this and who are here to hear me out. Part of that support group is my sister, my boyfriend, my Marimar, Samantha, my close group of friends, my mom, of course, and my therapist. One of the things that my anxiety tells me sometimes is that I am annoying for feeling this way. So not necessarily like I'm personally annoyed or feeling like this, but if I continue to go to these people for support and I continue to tell them about my feelings, eventually they're gonna get annoyed of me and they're gonna stop loving me. It's freaking crazy to think about, because of course the people who love you and the people who are there for you are never gonna get tired of you and your feelings. And I can sit here and say that, but when you're thinking and when these feelings of anxiety are racing up in your body, you truly do believe that. So that's probably one of my trigger points and something that I'm self-conscious about that I can openly talk about. So you can understand why this week on my blog channel, when I uploaded a video and I talked about how the pandemic had been hitting me harder and how I was using my birthday as a point in time to point out the fact that we've almost already been into this pandemic for a whole year, right? So I said I was the first person in my group of friends to have a birthday during the pandemic, and it sucks that I'm gonna have a birthday in a pandemic again, because it means we've been into this a whole year. In no way, shape, or manner that I say, oh my God, my birthday is so important, I need everything to open up. And no, I never said none of that. What I simply said was, it sucks that we're in this situation. I am sad that I'm gonna have a second birthday during quarantine. The fact that it feels like life is stagnant has been making me feel down lately. As a grown adult, I understand the fact that things are the way they are and we can't change them, and we're all doing the very best that we can, myself included. With that video, 99.9% of you guys understood exactly what I meant, and not one of you guys thought anything bad of it, right? But of course, there's always ignorant people who love to twist things around and who love to make things what they're not. And so I got this specific comment, and I'm going to read it to you guys, and we're going to highlight it because unfortunately we need to use this comment as an example. So the comment said, "Girl, I'm sorry, but you're so dramatic sometimes. I just can't. You act like your life is so hard. Some of us have kids, a full-time job, a house to take care of, barely have enough to pay bills, but you have anxiety because you can't party for your birthday. Your reason to get out of bed is your dogs. Wow." Now here's something I want to say. This girl said, you have anxiety because you can't party for your birthday. That's exactly what I didn't say. And she said, your reason to get out of bed is your dogs. Now, I also did talk about that in my video, and I talked about how that specific day I had been having a rough couple of days, and I used my dogs as a reason to motivate me to get my day started. Sometimes, you may be surprised, as positive as you may see me be, there's times where I don't want to get out of bed. And there's times where my dogs are the reason I get out of bed. They motivate me because their life depends on me. I feed them, I walk them, I take care of them. If that is not a good enough reason for you, I understand it and I respect it, but you don't get to shame people for finding motivation to do mundane things and whatever they find motivation in. I'm really trying not to get emotional through this video because there's a deeper message behind this. So I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna do my best. So let me get tissue paper real quick. Of course, when I saw that comment, I was hurt, and it took me by shock because I was like, how can somebody think that that's what I think? Like, nowhere in that message or in that video that I say, oh, I'm so sad because I can't party for my birthday. No, I simply said life feels stagnant and it feels like time is still moving. Now, what that person took and understood is not something I can change or control. Her level of understanding and her level of intaking emotional intelligence is not something I can control, but it is something that I can make an example out of and we can all learn from. Now, I have a vow to not reply to negative comments because that's just what I vow to myself, and it's what's healthiest for me and my mental health. But some of you guys actually did reply to her. Not that you have to ever step in for me, and not that you ever have to stoop to the level of these people, but there's a lot of you guys actually out there who you see people struggling, and not because it's me and you're defending me, but because you know and you've also been in these shoes, so you felt the need to comment. So the first person is Kimberly Medina. Shout out to you, girl. Kimberly basically said, you are wow. How are you judging the reason she has anxiety for, or what made her get out of bed? Like you said, some of us have kids, not everyone. Not everyone's life is the same or like yours. If her dogs are what made her get out of bed, then that is her reason. And girl, I just love you. Thank you for that. From my understanding, the initial commenter felt the need to comment these things because she sees me living my life in a way that is not according to her standards. So she saw me saying, hey, my birthday's coming up again. It sucks that we're still in quarantine. I'm bummed about it. I've been having anxiety. So she thought to herself, my life is shitty. I have kids. I don't have money to pay my bills. Whatever other things she said, you don't have it bad enough. You shouldn't be complaining, Stacy. That's basically the bottom line of it, right? Now, if we all in a society continue to say things like, you think you have it bad? All right, well, my dad left me and my parents got divorced and my dad left me. Or you think you have it bad? Okay, my dad did this and that to me. Or you think you have it bad? And both of my parents died and now I'm an orphan. Or you think you have it bad? I was a burn accident victim. Like, It is not a competition of whose life is worse and whose life isn't. Life sucks for people and life is beautiful for other people, for everybody actually. It just depends on what you decide to focus your energy on. That comment really did hit me because I had already been having a rough couple of days and I just couldn't believe that somebody thought I was so self-centered that that's why I was having anxiety. And her thing was, your life is not that bad. Stop having anxiety. Now, something that I did want to point out, you guys, and something that I do want to let you guys know, for those of you who don't have anxiety or you have never experienced or seen somebody or been around somebody with anxiety, the fact of the matter is we don't get to choose what we have anxiety about, right? So I, for example, know people who literally can't leave their house unless they have certain pair of underwear on. Or I know of people who literally can't leave their house before they check every single lock in their house. Or I know of people who can't go out by themselves because they have anxiety. I know of people who can't even go to the grocery store, who can't go to the mail office, who can't go anywhere because their anxiety is that serious. My anxiety telling me your life is being wasted while all of this pandemic is going on and there's nothing you can do about it is not something I can control. I understand that I have a very privileged position. I understand that I'm not lacking in some areas and I am not complaining about my life at all whatsoever. I was just simply expressing what I was feeling and I was hoping to reach the people that actually feel similar ways and for us to kind of unite and be with each other in these tough moments. I understand that the pandemic is not something we can control, but the main thing I want you to get from this point is people who have anxiety, we don't choose what we have anxiety about and we don't choose if we can have anxiety or not. Because bitch, if it was up to me, I would say, all right, I'm over it. Never mind guys, I'm good. No worries heart, it's fine. No worries head, stop thinking about it. No worries nervous system, everything is okay. Like bitch, for you to sit here and say, oh, your life is so good, stop having anxiety. Don't you think that that is something I have already prayed and talked and gone to therapy for? And so when you combine stupid comments like this with that insecurity that your feelings are gonna push people away from loving you, you're gonna have a nervous breakdown. And that's exactly what happened. I had an episode where I literally was crying here on this bed that you're seeing, and I was like, am I just not gonna be able to continue my channel anymore? Or am I just not ever gonna talk about my feelings anymore? Or am I just not ever gonna mention anxiety? Like, should I try and pretend like my anxiety doesn't exist so that I can make people happy on the internet? And I refuse to, you guys. It's not something I can do. Part of my channel and part of my mission in life is normalizing feelings, normalizing therapy, normalizing having these debilitating feelings and still continuing to live a happy, fulfilling life. Now, when I talked about it in therapy, because I did talk about it in therapy, and I was like, how do I stop having anxiety? You guys, trust me, this is something I have been dealing with for a really long time and it's not something I actually want to have, right? So now I was left with two options. Do I stop sharing content where I talk about my feelings and where I open up about the fact that I suffer from this? Or do I continue to be true to myself and I continue to share these feelings when I do have them? Because it's not all the time, right? Now, I know that sometimes you guys hop on your TV and you look for the content creator who's always happy, who's gonna make you forget about your problems, who you're gonna feel like you're forgetting about yourself when you're watching them. And for the majority of the time, I try to be that for you. But when given these two options of being true to who I am, the good and the bad, and between continuing to ignore or choosing to ignore a mental illness because people have it worse than me, I'm gonna go with the route of being true to myself and my feelings. I am sorry if you feel that your life is horrible. And I am sorry if you feel like things are not what they should be in your life. But not because you have a broken arm doesn't mean that I can't cry about my broken leg. Comparing yourself and your pain to somebody else's is never gonna make your pain any smaller. I can sit here in front of this camera and talk all about how I'm feeling while you can still be feeling better or worse than me. Because there's people out there who don't suffer anxiety, but I'm not sitting there telling them like, you shouldn't cry because your dog died because at least you don't have anxiety. everybody's feelings, and this is something you learn in therapy, and maybe this commenter has obviously never been to therapy. When you go to therapy, something that you learn is that it is okay to feel what you're feeling. If I'm feeling this way, it is okay for me to feel that. And if you feel like your life isn't fair, it is okay it's okay for you also to feel that. Your life cannot be fair, and I can have anxiety at the same time. If I all of a sudden stopped having anxiety, that wouldn't change one single thing about whatever it is that is unfair in your life. I don't see a lot of creators, especially in the Latino community, talking about mental health. And I know that a lot of times we see creators say like, oh, I have anxiety and that's it. Or like, oh, I have depression and then that's it. Or a lot of times creators will have episodes of depression, episodes of anxiety, and they won't post for a month, and then they'll come back when everything is okay. And then they'll say, oh, I'm sorry I was gone for X amount of time. It's because I was dealing with X, Y, and Z. Now, that's beautiful. I'm glad that people are starting to talk about it. I have taken on the responsibility, and I feel like I want to hold the space on my channels to talk openly about these things while I'm going through them. So while many creators are probably talking about it while they're already over the hump, I'm talking about it while I'm going through it. And I'm telling you, this is painful. This hurts. This is uncomfortable. This is not something that I want to be going through. And I do this because there's so many people out there who also suffer with these things. And at their household, their parents are telling them things like that. You should be grateful you have a roof over your head. You should be grateful that you have food. You should be grateful that you have a room. There's people out there who don't have anything to eat. And people like you and I, a lot of parents didn't grow up acknowledging those kind of feelings. So of course I can see why a girl on the internet that you're deciding to watch is openly talking about how it sucks to have these feelings. You're thinking, you're sitting there in your house, it looks like your bills are paid, it looks like you're buying this and that you're buying that, and you don't have kids to worry about. You have nothing to complain about. But let me tell you something, just like that girl said, she has kids and she has bills to worry about. I pray to God that whenever her kids come crying to her because something hurts, or because they don't know why they're crying, or because they feel sad for no reason, or because Dios guarde tienen ansias, I truly hope and pray with all of my heart that she's not telling them what she told me in that comment. Because if we want to get better as a society and we want to get better as people, we have to start acknowledging our feelings, and we have to start holding spaces for people to feel like they are normal, even though they have these sorts of feelings. Maybe some people are gonna watch this and think like, no bitch, you should just get over it, there's nothing wrong with you, it's something mental, push through it, just be happy, que no te den ansias, relájate, cálmate, whatever. But I also know that there's gonna be somebody out there who's gonna watch this and is gonna say, I feel seen. I feel seen, I feel understood, and I feel like somebody's finally putting it into words. When I'm given the option between making someone feel validated for their experiences and making somebody comfortable just because their life is worse than mine, I'm gonna go with the option of validating the people who also struggle with anxiety, depression, and these weird feelings that nobody asked for. Even if that means I get negative comments along the way. Because at the end of the day, by me sharing my story and me sharing my journey and me feeling and me sharing the way that I feel and process these emotions, somebody else is going to feel encouraged to go to therapy. Somebody else is going to feel like they're not crazy for feeling this way. And somebody else is going to feel like even though I have these things debilitating me, I'm still going to be able to succeed. And I'm not gonna let that get in my way. I truly feel it really deep in my heart, you guys, to be an advocate for mental health. And as much as being an advocate for mental health means, there's a lot of people who still don't even believe that anxiety and depression are a thing, or that therapy is a thing that you should be doing, or that we should just get over it, or that just because you can pay your bills, your life is easy, or just because I don't have kids, my life is easy. Something very interesting that girl said in the comment, she said, the point of this comment was for her to see that there are so many more things that regular people have to deal with, other than not being able to celebrate a birthday. And something that Nancy Janeiro said, what makes her not regular people? And that's something that I want to kind of touch on really quickly before we end this video. The fact that I'm sitting behind this computer and the fact that I share my life with you does not make me any less regular people than anybody else you know. I am the same as that girl you're seeing at Northgate. I am the same as that girl you see at the gym. I am the same as that girl that you see at City Walk. I am the same as that girl that you see at any point. Bitch, I sit here on this bed and I cry my eyes to sleep sometimes. I lay here on this bed and I have a hard time getting up in the morning. I have people who have seen me cry day in and day out, and not because you think that my life is perfect because I can pay my bills and I don't have kids doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to feel feelings that I feel. Because at the end of the day, you guys, we have to leave this world with kindness. I'm going to continue to make my channel a space where you guys can come and talk about your feelings and where you can feel seen and understood. I'm not going to allow people into bully me into not talking about my feelings, because if I allow that to happen, then I'll just be another example of somebody who got shut down just because people were uncomfortable. There are so many of you out there that I know who have gotten things from your parents that are like, estás loca, no tienes nada, terapia es para gente loca, or just relax, or just whatever, things like that. And if I didn't continue to speak about these issues just because some bitch on the internet is mad, so many of you wouldn't feel validated. So I don't care how many mean comments I continue to get, and yes, they hurt, and yes, they make me cry because I'm only human, bitch. But let me tell you something, I'm not gonna stop it just because somebody doesn't feel like I should feel things. I really hope all my points came across clearly, and I really hope that for those of you who feel anxiety, depression, or any of those disorders, I need you to know it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And I know that a lot of times it feels like people don't understand, and that when people say things like just relax, or you don't need therapy, you're not crazy, or when they say things like just go, just do it, there's nothing wrong, like just go outside, nothing's gonna happen, or when they say things like you're just crazy, there's nothing outside, look, like nobody's gonna come in. Trust me when I tell you, I know that you wish that you could get rid of these feelings, and I know that you feel like there's something wrong with you, but I'm here to tell you there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Anxiety and depression are simply chemical imbalances, and we can't control them. You're not weird, you're not bad, and you're not any less deserving of love because you have these feelings. And I'm here to tell you that you're normal and you can still live a full happy life while having these feelings. Before we go, you guys, I did see a post yesterday on Instagram, and I reposted it on my story. So this post was by Megan Rose Lane, and just in case you feel any sort of negativity still watching this video, let me just leave you with this. Coming on someone's Instagram page and telling them you don't like their content and expect them to change it for you is like knocking on someone's door and asking them to change their furniture because it's not your taste. You don't live there. Keep moving. And I'm gonna leave the same message for my YouTube channel. If there's ever a time where you don't like my content anymore, or where you don't feel connected, or where you feel like I'm being too dramatic, or like my life is too perfect and that I shouldn't have anything to complain about, and like whatever, you are free to unfollow, unsubscribe, leave. Before you go out of your way to comment something negative, remember that whoever you're commenting to is standing behind that screen. I am a regular ass bitch who has feelings, who has de carne y hueso. O sea, not because you think in your head that the people on this side of the screen are other people doesn't make me any less willing or able to feel. That's gonna be it for me, you guys. I really hope everything in this video came out clearly and that there is no room for misunderstanding. But if there is, I would love to read what you think, and I would really like to have an open and healthy discussion about this. I know I'm soft, guys. I'm really soft, and I really am doing my best to continue to have these forums for you guys, and reading the comment section is something I enjoy. So before you're mean down there, remember my feelings will be hurt. So if that is your goal, congratulations, you have already accomplished it. But also if you're mean, you're just gonna get blocked. So las quiero mucho, mucho, mucho. Thank you for allowing me this room and this space to talk about my feelings. If you feel seen and understood, please leave a like on this video, leave a comment down below. If you also have people in your life who make you feel bad about suffering from anxiety or depression, or about making you feel like you should just be grateful that you're alive. Like, bitch, yeah, we're grateful, but I can be grateful and still have anxiety. It's not a choice I make. But anyway, I'm repeating myself. That's gonna be it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Les quiero mucho, mucho, mucho. Quédate mucho, respétate más. And if you ever wanna go to therapy, just know that I encourage it 1000%. And if you suffer from anxiety, my heart is with you, bitch. I do too. And one day we're gonna get better. And we're not gonna feel like this no more. Que Dios las bendiga. And I'll see you guys at the next video. I'm gonna go cry now. Bye.